Me one great lesson in prison. Money don't mean nothing. They don't care nothing about no money in the feds. And then you really find out what's the real true value inside the federal prison. And that's life itself.
When Lil Durk's 10-year-old son pulled a gun on his stepfather during a heated argument, it turned into a public scandal and sent shock waves through his family. A child forced to step into an adult conflict in the most extreme way possible, with 7 kids, multiple co-parents, and a life that seems constantly under a microscope. Durk's role as a father has never been more complicated as the rapper faces his own legal troubles. His family is holding on by a thread, and what happens next could change everything. Let's take a closer look at the secrets that Durk's closest circle has been keeping making a change. Durk's family tree has gotten pretty complex over the years, spread out across different cities, held together by history, loss, in love with multiple children from several baby mamas. His family is as sprawling as it is fragmented. His parents and siblings have faced their own battles, with some fate sealed and others still unfolding now. With Durk behind bars, the weight of these connections feels heavier as his family navigates life in his absence, each member carrying their own part of the story. Lil Durk's father, Dante Banks, also now known as Big Durk, has a story that was once caught up in the streets. Back in 1993, when the rapper was still a baby, Big Durk got caught up in a major cocaine distribution case that landed him a life sentence. This wasn't just some small-time hustle. When the authorities took him down, they reportedly seized $8 million in cash. Big Durk grew up surrounded by struggle. He was the fourth of 10 kids in a family where his mom was battling addiction and his dad wasn't in the picture by the time he was old enough to step up. 3 of his older brothers were already locked up. That left him as the man of the house, trying to hold everything together. But life wasn't kind, and after his family got evicted, Big Durk found himself living out of a car near their old home. For a while he stuck it out in school, but eventually he turned to the streets to make money. That choice came with consequences. By the time he was arrested, he was already a father of 5, with Lil Durk being the youngest. His sentence meant he'd missed decades of his children's lives. Fast forward 26 years and Big Durk got a second chance. He won an appeal and walked out of prison in 2019. The fans taught me one great lesson in prison: money don't mean nothing. They don't care nothing about no money in the F. And then you really find out what's the real true value inside the federal prison, and that's life itself and family. But he wasn't the same man who went in. Now going by Abdul Ha, he turned his life around and dedicated himself to helping at-risk youth. He uses his own story, the good, the bad, and the ugly, to mentor kids, showing them what happens when you choose the streets over a straight path. He calls himself the change agent and lives by it, teaching kids to avoid the mistakes he made. In an interview, Big Durk opened up about his arrest and the tough choices he faced. Authorities offered him freedom if he'd snitch on Larry Hoover, the co-founder of the Gangster Disciples. He refused, sliding his lawyer's card across the table. Instead, he believed that being a rat was the lowest of lows and stood firm in both his street code and his faith as a devout Muslim. How many years did your dad get when he got locked up? They gave him life, but he looking good for his case on the peel back, so he will be touching the streets again. I'm holding down to you again. But Hus transformation didn't come without challenges, and he believes his son is now facing the same forces that tried to pull him down. In interviews, he's been vocal about how the timing of Lil Durk's legal troubles feels way too convenient. Hack pointed out that as soon as Durk started turning his life around, staying away from gang culture, focusing on peace and embracing his faith, he got hit with an indictment. Hawk expressed that it seemed mighty strange how the timing aligned. He pointed out that the minute he was out there pushing positivity, staying away from the drama, and putting on for peace in Chicago, now they wanted to come for him. HCK emphasized that Lil Durk had recently been involved in a Muslim conference advocating for peace and had honored victims of violence at his birthday concert. He pointed out that right after that they indicted him, conveying his frustration with the system. Hawk's own experiences added depth to his perspective. He recalled how during his trial the government had offered him a deal, freedom in exchange for informing on Larry Hoover, the co-founder of the Gangsta Disciples. Hawk declined, holding firm to his principles even though it meant sacrificing decades of his life as a devout Muslim and mentor to the community. Ha now reflects on the broader implications. He believed belays that those trying to escape the streets and make positive changes, whether through religion, activism, or a new lifestyle, often face increased scrutiny. He said that this is what the system does as Soon as people are pushed to do right, suddenly they become the enemy. Despite the hardships, Hack remains focused on his mission. He mentors kids and uses his story to show them a way out, proving that change is possible no matter how deep you're in, and through it all he's standing by his son, offering words of wisdom and fighting to make sure the next generation doesn't repeat the same mistakes. Leonda Woodard, Lil Durk's mom, also has a story that hits hard, especially if you know what it's like growing up in a tough environment like Chicago's South Side. She's real about the struggles she faced raising Durk and his brother, balancing her own battles while trying to guide her kids. In her book 7220, named after the home their family grew up in, Leonda laid out all the lessons she learned. She talks about how Durk wasn't a relentless kid with big dreams. From a young age he was set on being a rapper. She recalls how he constantly asked for money to go to the studio, often emphasizing that it was always $50 he needed. She would have $45 or $47, never quite enough, but she gave him whatever she could. Durk, undeterred, found ways to make it work, hustling for every opportunity to record. That determination, she believes, is what led him to where he is today. London expressed pride in how he turned that ambition into success. She does not shy away from discussing the harder parts of their journey growing up in Englewood. She acknowledged how challenging the environment was and admitted that she wished she could have done more to get her family out sooner. She openly reflected on battling depression during that time, revealing that she didn't even recognize it for years. She explained that she was trying to raise her kids and provide them with the life they deserved, but it was difficult when she wasn't in the best mental or emotional space herself. Since publishing 7220, has been using her platform to share those lessons and give back to others. She is currently working on a second book which will focus on her late son DT Thing and provide deeper insights into the complexities of parenting under such challenging circumstances. She does not sugarcoat her experiences, openly acknowledging her mistakes while demonstrating how much she has grown. She consistently asks her children for forgiveness, knowing she could have done better as a parent. Oh yeah, it's very, very, very hard, and the depression and anxiety that I'm dealing with now I dealt with as a child, and now it's gotten worse. Now she's in a better place and she sees the journey differently. She knows everything happens for a reason, but despite the challenges she's raised kids who've made their mark. Durk leading the way, and through it all Londa stays humble, grounded and focused on turning her experiences into something meaningful, not just for her family but for anyone who can relate to her story. Dang. Lil Durk's older brother was more than just family. He was a key part of Durk's OTF crew, a presence in his life that held it down even when things got messy. Dante Banks Jr., known to most as Dang, tragically lost his life on June 5, 2021 in a gang-related shooting outside Club O, a strip club in Harvey, Illinois. He tragically passed away at the scene, leaving his family, especially Durk, shattered. Dang used to have Durk's corner and would be down in the trenches with him through whatever he was going through. He played a significant role in the OTF movement, supporting his brother's rise while navigating the same dangerous streets that shaped their lives. His death hit close to home, not just for Durk but for everyone connected to their world. It followed a series of losses for OTF, including King Von's death in 2020, amplifying the weight of grief and violence that seemed to shadow their circle. Londa has been open about the struggles she faced raising her sons on the south side of Chicago. In her book 7220, she reflects on the hardships, admitting that she often felt like she failed them. She's spoken about asking both of her sons for forgiveness, carrying the weight of what she couldn't provide while battling her own challenges like depression. She admitted she knew Englewood was getting worse and that she should have done more to get her kids out. She said she should have finished school, had her career in order so they could have had a better life. Losing D Thing and seeing Durk now in prison has only deepened that regret. She's talked about how her sons deserve better, but circumstances made it hard to give them the stability they needed. Dang's death wasn't just another statistic in Chicago's gun violence, it was personal. It came during a violent weekend when another man, Seneca Price, was killed in what police believed was a related retaliation. The streets don't forget, and for OTF the loss was a reminder of the risks tied to their lives. Londa still struggles under the weight of trying to escape the cycle of violence while staying true to where she comes from. For Durk, his brother's murder became another chapter in a story